Hey guys, what's going on? Buenos dias. So the president of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, had a conference or press conference with Macron, the president of, I don't know if they have a president or a prime minister, I forgot, of France. And he basically told him that he was gonna forego the charity given to Africa because Africans need to start building their own country and stop accepting charitable donations from France and other Western European countries. And I thought that was very commendable. I thought that was amazing. And it really got me thinking and got my wheels turning about a lot of things. You know, first of all was, you know, going into the conspiracy realism for those of you guys that, you know, just to let you know, like, this whole thing is way bigger than politics, okay? Politics is just like a drop, okay? It's bigger than this. So the thing that concerns me about that, though, is that the French people are probably going to be like, okay, yeah, fine, you know, hey, you know, we'll just step back. You know, they'll pull the whole PR, you know, stunt and act all nice, and then they'll turn on their weather controlling machines. And for those of you guys that don't believe me, Macron's a globalist, by the way, okay? So for those of you guys that don't believe me, look up Nick Beglich. I don't know if I'm saying Beglich. Angels Don't Play This Harp. Look up Michael Murphy's movie, What in the World Are They Spraying and Why in the World Are They Spraying? Look up weather modification. Look up papers that have been geoengineering, okay? So this shit is real. They they can't control the weather per se, but I would say they can manipulate the weather, okay? They can cause droughts. They can stop it from raining in some parts. You know, there was strong evidence to even support that the droughts in Australia were manufactured, thus enabling the fires to burn very rapidly and frequently, okay? So these asshole globalists, they do shit like that to these third world countries so they can go in and they can grab their minerals. They kill the people out. They starve the people out like that. And all of the people that are like upset over, you know, racism and stuff in America, I'm not saying that stuff isn't valid, but the real racism on the massive scale is shit like this, where they cause droughts and floods in other countries on a large scale, where they, you know, ruin people's crops via GMO seeds and Roundup and starve out, like, you know, hundreds of thousands of people so they can go in and mine their land for resources. That's like the real large scale racism, okay? But these assholes, they want you to be dependent on them, right? I remember a long time ago when I was a kid that I saw that this food was sent to African countries, and I forgot what country it was, okay? It was a long time ago. I was a kid, but these people, the Africans or whoever was the leader, they were rejecting the food. And of course at the time I was like, that's crazy, they're starving. Why would their president, you know, reject the food? And at that time, of course, I bought into the mainstream narrative, you know, crazy African, you know, terrorist leader. But now that I'm older, I'm like, he knew something probably we did. He probably knew that food was poisoned or it wasn't good or something. Like, he knew something, right? So you know, this is how they play. This is how these globalists play it the whole time, right? Like, before, you know, they broke up the black family and took up fathers and then flooded the neighborhoods with crack and drugs. We didn't have all of this gang violence. You know, black communities were not like this. We didn't have all this gang violence and all this madness that goes on, right? And then there's systematic, you know, ways that they've infiltrated education to brainwash people. They prepare these people for prison. They prepare these people for slaves, right? The thing that, you know, that makes me mad too about whenever a racist incident occurs and people go out and riot, then that's just more, you know, slaves for them, because these people are going to get a criminal record or police record and end up in jail, and then they're in the system. And the cycle continues. And then when you're in the system, you get out, it's hard for you to get a job because you're like a felon or whatever you're convicted of. And they also experiment on prisoners in jail. They experiment on them. So a lot of these people are mentally messed up because of, you know, the experimentation that they do on prisoners in jail all over the world, by the way. And also the GMO food that they feed the prisoners, you know, can't help their mental stability much, right? So I'm sure they're sleep deprived. They have all these mental issues, and you know, and let me, this whole Ghanan situation too caught me thinking about how, you know, they broke up the black family, right? So now black mothers are dependent, or you know, broke up fathers, broke up families, single parents, dependent on the government for food, which the food is full of chemicals and terrible stuff, right? Because you can't feed yourself, you can't afford to get a job to feed yourself, but now you get this, the government gives you free food, which is poison basically, right? Or you have to get certain medical procedures in order to receive, like in Australia, if you don't get vaccinated, you can't get like welfare benefits. So they keep you dependent. It's a form of slavery. They keep you dependent on them, so then they can control you and do whatever you want. Right? And that's what they're trying to do here. They're trying to do this. They're trying to ruin the economy and get people dependent on the government, so, you know, they can control us. And then, you know, the people that are dependent on assistance and unemployment and shit, or after this, they're going to try and be like, well, you can't get your unemployment check if you don't get vaccinated. Or you can't get, you know, you can only buy, you know, with your food stamps, you can only buy GMO food. You can't go to Whole Foods. You can't go to farmer's market and buy healthy food. You have to buy our poison food. These assholes are just unbelievable, diabolically evil, right? So I think the president of Ghana realizes this, and he's like, no, thank you. And he gave a very eloquent speech, and, you know, I don't see listening to it, how it was offensive in any way. But yeah, and of course they're gonna also probably try and paint him like, oh, dumb savage, right? Whenever an African or somebody from the third world has an opposing opinion, it must be because they don't know better, and they're a stupid savage, and they're uneducated, and they don't know the miracles of science and shit like that. I hate these people so much. I hate them so much. But that's what it's like. So good for him. I hope that they take the whole weather modification into, you know, account, and the whole GMO situation into account, because I can definitely see them just all of a sudden just having a drought, or having like a flood, or having something like that's nature on a large scale, and then they're gonna come in and be like, oh, it's because of global warming, when they actually created the problem. These people, I can't wait for these people to be exposed. I can't wait, okay? Because, and I know that the WHO is getting, you know, investigated now. Tom Fitton just called for Dr. Fauci to release his papers regarding the WHO, the World Health Organization. People are starting to look into Bill Gates. I saw a video the other day where somebody was like, oh, well, that's, you know, people are like, oh, it's all Bill Gates, but Bill Gates is part of a bigger machine. And the guy was right. The guy was right about the video. So, but I think it's good, even if people are just starting to wake up about Bill Gates, they'll eventually make their way to the larger cabal. They will. So, you know, it's just, I don't know. It's just very, like I said, the Ghanaian president, Nana, was right. But I just hope that they don't, I can just see their diabolical, especially since shit's falling apart, they're willing to go to throw everything, right? And then the president of Tanzania, yeah, I don't know if you heard, but he sent in fake samples to the lab. So he gave them names, and I'll put that in the bottom below in the links too. But he gave the test samples names, like you know, human names, but one was like of car oil, one was like a goat, one was like a pawpaw fruit, and like the pawpaw came back positive for coronavirus. And for those of you guys who don't know, as I've been saying on this channel, when they do these tests, they don't look, the swab tests, they don't look for a virus swimming around. They test for proteins. So if you have these proteins, which could be in a pawpaw, you know, which you can get if you have the flu, if you're pregnant, if you've been around animals, if you are an animal according to the test, then you can test positive. So these tests are bullshit. What does this mean? If you can't see a virus and you're working off of proteins, right, off these markers, then, I mean, you can just make shit up as you go along, right? And then now they're diagnosing people that, you know, have other things like, you know, a bullet wound to the head. Like my cousin, I just said that her friend works in a mortuary and a gangbanger got shot in the head, but they put COVID-19 on this death certificate, of cancer, of, you know, pneumonia, of other things that you die of. But they're just writing COVID-19 like it ain't nobody's business. They're just writing it up, you know? So, yeah, it's good for Ghana. I wish them well, and I hope that a lot of other countries follow suit, because that's, you know, they can't go in like back in the old days where, you know, they were just going with the army and shoot up a bunch of people and stuff, because people are hip to that now. So they have to use weather modification. They have to use more stealth ways of taking over countries, right? There's supposedly there are a few different of these machines in the world. There's one in Peru. There's one in like supposedly, I've heard, allegedly in China, in Russia. There are a few of these machines around the world that use weather modification, and chemtrails is a part of that, because they need the air to have certain particles and chemicals in it in order for these things to work. There are many agendas with chemtrails, but that's just one of them. But you guys should look this up if you guys, you know, I'm telling you, it ain't about just about left and right. They're using the left to employ a lot of their political agenda, but there are a lot of evil people on the right too. Just so you know, it's a globalist thing. These globalists, you know, Democrat and Republican, are trying to take over the world and make us slaves. A lot of people are getting hip to that. So again, I wish Ghana well. I'll be watching what goes on over there, and, you know, sending my prayers that I hope that it goes well for them. And like I said, I hope other countries follow suit. All right, guys, I will talk to you later. Peace and love. Bye-bye. Mwah.